Hey guys, Andy N, Spoken Label, back in the house, Sunday afternoon. Second podcast of the day alert. Yes, second. First one, I spoke to a French lady and talked to a French publishing house. We're over to South Africa today, and we've got a dear friend, Spoken Label. Now, behind Amanda, I think this lady holds the record to have been on Spoken Labels the most, but not under this name. So yeah, we're going to confuse you today. We've got my friend Alta on the phone here today from South Africa. How are you going, Alta? I've not spoken to you in ages.
I know it's been too long. Hi, how are you today?
Oh, very good today. Very good today. Yeah.
I love hanging
Fantastic.
out with you on a Sunday.
Oh, it's
That's
brilliant.
what
Always
we
great to
do.
catch up with you.
Hang out on
Now,
a Sunday.
oh, no, it's great. Like I said, it's people are wondering, we've known each other now, what, way before lockdown, didn't we? What was it? 2018?
Yeah, like 5, 6 years now.
Yeah, it was like it's
Yeah.
before both of us got married, that's for sure with it. And before you met your husband, Chuck, yes, everybody, Alta is now off the market, right? That's why, but yeah, it's like it was, oh God, yeah, it was, wasn't it? And I was like, yes. And I can't, how did we first meet? We got talking over something, didn't we, on Facebook?
On it was what was that? Prahemia? It was a poetry submission thing.
Yeah, it come off something like that, didn't it? Yeah. And it's like
Yeah,
it was a
yeah.
great example how you can make friends with people in other countries. You don't even intend to, and that's the best bit sometimes of it. And then
Yeah, no,
we've
it was
definitely
definitely
yeah.
and in fact, that was even more than 5 years ago. That was in 18.
Yeah, so my good
Yeah,
God, yeah,
18.
6 years ago
Yeah.
then. God almighty, yeah. Would be 180. Yeah, and like you come along to a lot of the workshops we used to do over lockdown, didn't you, as well? And like it's been a journey to both of us really the last few years. Like I said, when me
It
getting
has
married to
been.
Amanda and you get married to Chuck as well, your husband. So but anyway, listen,
Mm.
we better give people the spiel first of all, hadn't we? Because obviously you were the former I like this. Like the print, you're the artist formerly known as Prince. You were the artist formerly known as Alta Mapping, weren't you? But you're not now, are you? So
Now, Mrs. Haffner.
yeah, Alta Haffner now. So yes, okay, Mrs. Haffner. For people that don't know you, then I'm gonna make you feel like you're older than what you are here, calling you Mrs. Haffner. So, but obviously, Alta. For people that don't know you seriously, tell us a little bit about yourself as a person, and we'll start from there.
Okay. Thank you, Andy. I would like to just say that I'm just a creative. Whatever project I feel like doing, I've always got like 5 or 6 projects running at the same time. Um, I can't sleep. I'm working on a project. If I can't think about something, I'm writing. If I can't cook, I'm writing. If I can't, whatever it is, I'm always writing. So 90% of my day is writing, publishing, and 10% is doing some things to just distract me from that. I do this full time now. I help new authors and established authors publish their books, design their books. I love pretty books. I think everybody knows that it's a crazy scenario for me to publish a book that the interior doesn't just make you think, geez, this woman had a lot of time to waste, because there's just so much design.
Wow, its
But
design work is
it is
brilliant.
what, yeah, it's just what we love. And that's what I do. I help other writers, poets publish their books, design their books, and do a lot of writing myself. And I think my biggest aim is to just in this year and next year, I want to concentrate on those who just don't have the means to be able to edit, to format their work. And that's really what I love concentrating on, is to help those who do not have the means to get their beautiful words out there.
Yeah, completely. Now, obviously, there's a few things we need to say, make people aware of today with this. Obviously, your publishing imprint, which certainly wasn't on the last time we spoke, come since, was in, tell me if I've got this pronunciation right, and I've probably got it wrong. Is it the Sakura Publishing? Is that right?
Sakura.
Sakura.
So
Okay. Yeah.
Sakura is the Japanese for cherry blossom.
Ah, right. I was wondering what
So
that was.
whenever you say Sakura, I'll be listening, because it's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing in the world. So Sakura Book Publishing is basically to educate, to teach, to publish, to design, to format, whatever needs to be done to get a book published from A to Z. That's what we are. You know, we have people or writers come to us and they say, oh, I don't know if this is any good. Can you have a look at it? There's nothing that is not good enough to be, you know, obviously if there's spelling mistakes, we'll fix it. If there's formatting errors, we'll fix that. But nobody's work or words are not enough. So, you know, and I think you remember from way back then, my motto or my slogan has always been, show up for your dreams. And I still hold on to that, you know, to just allow people to show up for their dreams. And while they're showing up for their dreams, I will lose sleep to show up for their dreams too.
Now, obviously, when we last spoke about 2 years ago, so I know it's just horrifying, it's gone so quick. I know the publishing house was in the process, wasn't it? So,
Yeah.
but obviously, I don't think you'd announced it back then. So I think it's come more recent. And certainly at that point, you were doing your 3 magazines a month at one point, weren't you as well? And it was like, I don't know how you did that. Do you look back at that now?
Neither do I. In hindsight, I was like, this is why I'm 51 and I feel 80 sometimes, because I need to do about 5 years of catching up on sleep. But anyway, back then I used to have a full-time job as well. So most of that initial crawling stages of this was done after a full day's work and weekends. And then I woke up one morning and I said to Chuck, I said, that's it, I can't do this anymore. I'm selling my soul to this corporate devil every day, excuse me. And I resigned, and a month later I registered Sakura, and I've never looked back. It's been difficult. It's incredibly scary. Like, nobody can ever say it's not scary, because that would be a lie. It is incredibly, initially it was really scary. But when you really and honestly believe in what you do, you just got to grab it with both hands and just say, here I am showing up for this today and every other day.
Yeah, and I agree completely with that. I think it's only fair as well. We tell people about some of the writers whose journeys you've helped out with us, and give people a feel for the variety of work you've helped out.
Okay. Well, obviously, my husband, 4 years ago. When did Chuck's first book? I think it's about 3.5 years ago. When I published his first book, Orchids Under the Stars. He said, I will only ever write one book. That's it. Well, he's now just published his 10th book.
So really?
I'm a bad influence. He's just published his 10th book. Yes.
God, that's incredible.
And then I have Lesedi, my grief book. We spoke about it earlier on. 19-year-old student from South Africa. And honestly, if you've just lost someone close to you, that's the book that will console you. Jim McManus, the author of Travels, and he's just published his second book called Poetry from Afar. It's contemporary poetry, and he basically writes to art. So it's his interpretation of a piece of art.
Wow.
And it's lovely. It's lovely is just such a downer word, actually. It's phenomenal. I often, when I travel, I take his book Travels with me, because it's nice to read anyway and any time of the day. And then I have Anka, who's from Australia. She is an absolute hopeless romantic. And her poetry shows. And those are just, so obviously you know RJ is actually doing a collaboration with Chuck at the moment. about a very controversial subject. So the two of them will tell you more about it. Maybe they can chat to you about it one of these days.
We'll sort something out.
But it's very interesting, to say the least. And there's some other things that's in the background at the moment, which I'm not going to say too much about, but there's a lot of new projects coming out. There's a lot of new things happening. I'll give you a hint. Sakura is going to be blossoming in the USA soon.
No more, no spoilers, Alta. Okay,
I'm not spoiling it.
Yeah.
No.
I want to say, I want to tell people what you've been up to yourself, writing wise, because I know you've. Like I said, everyone knows you. They will know you've always got your fingers in a few pies in your writing. You're always up to a few bits and pieces. So, and I think I'll just let you tell people what your last couple of books have been about, and leave it that way.
Okay, I think let me talk about like the most recent. You know me, I can't keep track. So
if you can't keep track, I know I can't. So
my hope within syllables is incredibly sad, but incredibly hopeful. It's a book of haiku and tanka poetry, and it takes you through a period in my life of a span of about 2 years where some traumatic things happened, and through haiku and tanka, I take you through a transition of scary moments and horrible, sad moments to the hopeful new day, new morns, you know, a new light, a new sunrise, so all the happier things. And the one before that was the Huncha, which you were in one of them as well.
I was indeed,
Words
yes.
to heal or break. Yeah. And so it's basically a hybrid of haiku, where haiku is your 5-7-5 syllables. The Huncha is the 5-5-7. But the last line, instead of it being a turning or a juxtaposition, I've turned it into a reflection. So it's a moment of reflection, you know, to nature, to a feeling, to emotion, or whatever. So hansha meaning reflection in Japanese as well. And before that was a tapestry of words, where it's very the tone of the book is really me from my perspective of looking at people being hurt, you know, and it's different forms of poetry, and it speaks of that, you know, all the different things. And then there is I think one of the ones that you've also recently read was My Sorrows, Love and Hope.
Yes.
Where I talk about the sorrow and sadness, happiness, love. And it's also different forms of poetry, mainly haiku, you know, because I just navigate towards, I don't know why. I don't know why. Haiku is just like, I don't know, it's got a spell on me. It put a spell on me many years ago, and that's who I am these days.
Yeah.
Have you seen my tattoo?
Oh, yes. Now, people are wondering this is on the audio side of this podcast. Ultimately showing up a tattoo now. Is that with syllables on it? 5-7-5?
No, so this is the haiku, the katakana symbol for haiku.
Yes. Got it. There, got it. Yeah. Oh, wow. That only you could do that, definitely. So, good grief. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting though, when we got talking 6-7 years ago now, I know you used to write longer poetry, and it's interesting, like, you think when you channel yourself to go through like haikus and tankas and stuff, it takes over your poetry form completely. It does, without meaning to.
It does. Yeah.
I've had spells on it, certainly, when I've done nothing but haikus for months.
Look, you've done plenty of haiku, and you know, if I remember correctly from your first haikus that you submitted to you bringing out a haiku book, and you know, all of these new projects to it, Well,
done two.
it is
I
coming.
think I've done 2 haiku books today, definitely. So, and who
Mhm.
knows, a third one may appear in the future.
And it is something that you can do on the train, which I think a lot of it you did write on the train.
Well, yeah, the first book of haikus I did, I wrote it on the train because I spent about 6 months on
yeah,
it. God, this was in
yeah.
lockdown as well, so I was going through deserted train stations every day, and sat there thinking, this is
And
weird.
there's always inspiration for a haiku because it's imagery. So look at something and you can just write.
Yeah, just
It
scribble
doesn't
it down
matter.
on like on the back of a bus pass, which is what I used to do sometimes, and then get home and spend about half an hour or an hour trying to work out what I've just wrote in the back of the bus pass in my handwriting. Oh, you do,
Yeah.
you do. Have you found another time also with what you do? Your poem is so minimal now. It's like I think you're interested in the fact that you're always finding new ways of tackling these, aren't you? Like with that, you find that sometimes like you find you made yourself looking back at it now.
Yeah, I find time. I do find time, but there are times when I get to a point where I just feel like I can't write. There's no, it's, I wouldn't call it, I hate the word writer's block because for me, there shouldn't be such a thing. It's just a creative way of saying, okay, I'm not writing today. But, I also get to a point where there's just so much heaviness. Remember, I receive a lot of communication from people and manuscripts, and I read a lot of sad things sometimes, and it does affect you a hell of a lot, and it is important, even if you just sit and you close your eyes for 5 minutes and take a couple of deep breaths and just refocus and find the time. And yes, I do have to admit that I neglect my sleep a lot. But like if I'm awake through the night, I go to bed tomorrow morning sometime, I will have another nap to make up for it, So it was sort of in a 24-hour, I'll get my 8 hours in somehow. But I think more to the point is making sure that you have the time, but your mental health has got to also play a massive role, because if you're not feeling good, you're not going to produce creative stuff. So
Yeah,
for
no,
me, I
great.
think I was telling you earlier on, for me, we would honestly, if I am still working when the sun comes out, when the sun comes out, I will go and wake Chaka. We'll get into the car and we'll go and watch the sunrise. And
Beautiful,
it's a
yeah.
nice way to start the day. So
You've got to.
finding time is wanting to find time.
No, I agree with you completely with that. I think a lot for me nowadays is like when I used to have a tiny little notebook in my bag, I've gone technical nowadays and I've got like a tablet in beside my bag instead. So I'm often just typing away on my tablet sometimes when I'm going to and from work. So yeah, it
And
does.
now we can actually read what we said, what we typed.
Oh God, yeah. Amanda's got it down to a T. What she always does is, and I don't know how she does it, is I'm giving Amanda's trade secret away now, but she don't mind. She does a lot of it. You see her on the bus, she's using on the phone, but not playing games, typing half the time on her phone. And to get some and drags it all off a lap and phone onto a laptop. Then mine's a
I
big
do the same
tablet.
thing. I transfer, like if I'm
Yeah.
laying in bed and I can't sleep, I sit up, I do whatever, and then I just email them to myself. So by the time I get to my laptop in the morning or whatever, that will on my email. It's a brilliant way to do it. Have you ever gone to, well, you've gone to bed and then you can't really sleep, but then you're like listening to a podcast or you're thinking about something, and then you have to like the beginning of a poem, and you're like, oh, I'm going to remember that. I'm going to remember that. You never remember that because we are over 50 these days.
Oh,
So
we
I
are
would
for sure.
literally then
Yeah.
just grab my tablet and like just like or I'll send a voice note to myself, and just
Oh,
because those are the moments that little bit before you fall asleep is when your brain is just rested and, well, tired and rested of
Yeah.
thoughts, but
Yeah.
you know,
True. Yeah. Now
creativity creeps in.
I've got a
Those
trade secret with
little,
that. Got a trade secret with that myself. Yeah. And you know, I'm nowadays in a band, don't you? Called Polly Ocean with a friend of mine, Polly, lives about 20 miles away from me. She every time she writes something, she does a voice note first of all, I think, and just set as well as keeping a copy for herself. She sent it over to me. Because some mornings I'm getting up and I'm seeing voicemails from 3 or 4 in the morning. And I'm thinking, yep, Polly's not had much sleep again last night.
but that is a brilliant way
Yeah.
to do it. That's a
Yeah.
brilliant way to do it.
Yeah, no, I do. It's such a good way of doing it. Yeah, because I'm not that
I
organised.
remember years ago, you actually sent me a photo of your little notebook, and you numbered all your poems.
Oh, hang on.
Do you remember that?
That's the current one. People are wondering now.
There you
This
go.
is the current one, and I've not even numbered the book on this one yet. But it's something like about 68 now. Would you believe it is 68 of these big A5 books I've got now? Would you believe all
Yeah,
filled with
yeah, I remember
scraps
that.
of all kinds of things in me? So yeah, you
Yeah,
do like it's
yeah,
half the time I do it that way. That way I don't lose them. Because if I
yeah.
just try and rely on the computer where everything is things vanish. And we think when you write so much, is it like a struggle for you to keep them properly archived, make sure you don't lose things sometimes?
Yes. I I have like the big scale ones for like the
Oh wow!
businessy type of things, and then
Yeah,
I
I've got one
create
as
my
well.
own.
I've got one. I've got one of them as well.
There you go. It's like my Bible. Everything goes in there.
Yeah, big
And then
Bible as well.
I have the little notebooks, but I confuse myself because the one is for haiku, the one is for tanka, the one is for long form, the other one is for this, the other one's for, so I confuse myself because sometimes the one lands in the other one and make it too
Oh,
complicated.
oh
Too
wow, yeah.
complicated.
It does this. I tend to do folders on my laptop basically. I have like folders, whatever I'm working on. But then, like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's you can outdo yourself sometimes with it because I've got tons of file folders knocking around, and some projects never get completed. Some should, but won't. Some just do. So yeah. So definitely, I agree with you, Alta. I think you should drop us a hint next. I know you were telling me before, weren't you? You're 80 pages into something at the moment, aren't you?
Sorry, I'm what?
You were telling me
Sorry,
before as a hint, to give people a hint, that you're 80 pages into something at the moment, weren't you?
Oh, yes. Okay. So I don't know when it will be ready, quite honestly, but I'm busy writing a book about ikigai. And ikigai basically meaning to wake up and to live happy, joyful, to do what you love and to be able to create an income from it. That's the gist of it. But as writers or creatives, we always feel guilty to say to somebody, oh, you owe me $5 for my 10 days worth of editing for you. We always feel guilty, but we shouldn't, because this is what we're passionate about. And in order for us to do this passionately, we need to just, be able to pay for a coffee or whatever it is, and ikigai is not it's a zen way of doing what you love. You're not going to get rich from it. You're just going to be able to do it for the rest of your life and make you happy and make everybody else around you happy.
Yeah,
And
agreed.
it's
Agreed.
to share your passion with the world. Like my passion, honestly, is, and I always say this when people say to me, gosh, I've just sent you this manuscript and I know you're going to be awake the whole night because I know you won't be able to not do it. And I always say to them, but that's my ikigai. That's what I'm here for. That's my purpose, is to do this. And we need to turn it around where if I can't do something, I must be able to say, hey, but I know Andy can do this. Share our passions around and let all of the creatives just be happy.
Yeah.
And
No, I
those
agree.
who want to work in the corporate industry, let them go and be happy in the corporate industry. And let us be creative.
Yeah, let us be happy and free, like a bird, basically. Yeah,
There
I
you
agree.
go.
I agree. You've got
There
to,
you go.
because I think you're a great example, Alter, of this. And I think I am as well in a different way. Is like, if you've got to follow your dreams, if you don't follow your dreams, I've seen it happen to people before now, and it eats them up. It'll eat you, gnaw away at you on the inside. It will, and that's why if you
It
don't, you've
will.
got to do it. You've got to do it because
You'll never be completely happy no matter what. I mean, somebody can throw $1,000 at you doing something that you don't like.
yeah,
It's just money. Someone can throw $10 at you doing something that you love. That $10 is worth $1,000.
yeah, agreed.
So
Agreed with you completely. You've got to do it. Just got to do it because, and I tell people that honestly, like it's at the minute, like I've not told you this yet. I'm actually mentoring somebody at the moment myself, actually, a young writer I know, and I'm not going to name him because I'll embarrass them.
yeah.
But you do, like I'll tell you afterwards. But like it was more afterwards off mic. But yeah, you do. You've just got to do it because it's. And this young writer I'm helping out, she's 21. She's absolutely superb. Like you said, that young 19-year-old you just put me in contact with. It's. I think as some people have got this at an early age.
Yes.
Like it was like,
Yes.
well, I've been writing since I was 10, and it took me probably to 40 to find the direction I wanted to go with it. And I can't remember how old you were, but it was a few years ago, and it's took you yourself, hasn't it, to later in life to
Yeah.
find out to follow the dream.
Yeah, and I mean, some people are lucky enough to figure it out quickly. And some of us have a bit of a struggle, with life, and we say, can't do this, I can't do this. Nobody's going to want to read my books. It doesn't matter. Just write for yourself and just do whatever you love, no matter what the consequences are. Obviously, don't be irresponsible and all of those beautiful things, but just do. Just do.
Yeah, perfect way of putting it, indeed, Alter.
I'd like to
Yes.
read one thing for you.
Oh, tell you what, should we do
Okay.
this in the second half then? Or do you want to do
Sure.
it all? Like, what we'll do, everybody,
Sure.
we'll take a quick break because I love it. Alta's got. You can hear by the richness of a voice, poetry is just as good. So, Alta, let's do the hard sell then before we take a quick break for part 2. How can people find out more about you, first of all?
Okay, so they can send me an email at alta@sakurabookpublishing.com, on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
Yeah, all the usual
Just
places.
Google me and somewhere I'll pop up, and you can just message me anyway. It's fine.
Best way of putting it there. I agree with you. So, right, everybody, hang around, and we will see you all in 2 shakes of the dice.